Hey, what's up? This is not only the 10th installment of my series going over the Death Note anime and manga, but it's also the end of what I'm calling Season 1. I've been watching this series using a DVD set, and after these couple of episodes I'll be finished with the first set of DVDs, and it just felt like a good place to take a halftime. And honestly, I couldn't ask for better episodes to go over. I'll also be taking all of my other videos I've done in this series and making one long video for people that like to binge watch. Anyway, I don't want to waste any more time, so let's get into the season finale of my series going over the Death Note anime and manga. We open this episode with a highlight reel of every time Matsuda has been shit on, and if you don't already know, this is an episode all about Matsuda.
Here's the clicker. No one would blame you.
We get to see Misa on the set of a new movie, and after she makes a huss and fuss about the kissing scene, the production takes a break and Matsuda notices the Yotsuba building. We then get another highlight reel of Matsuda getting shit on, and this makes him want to infiltrate the building and get some intel. We take a break from the A-plot to see Light questioning himself and if he could have done what Kira has done.
Would I punish evildoers and criminals if I could kill by just seeing a name and face? Is that what I'd do if I had that sort of power?
After Elle offers Light some cake, Watari chimes in and tells Elle that someone has hired Geraldo Coyle, the second best detective, to investigate Elle. While the rest of the task force is panicking, Elle tells him that he's Geraldo Coyle, Elle, and Denev, or in other words, Elle is the top 3 detectives in the world.
I'll give you this strawberry if you keep it a secret, okay?
I'm impressed as always, Ryuzaki.
We then cut back to Matsuda infiltrating the Yotsuba building, and while Matsuda begins to question if he should just leave now, he overhears some of the members talk about the secret meetings, and this motivates him to go all the way. We then cut back to Elle and the task force talking about their very delicate plan of action to get into the Yotsuba group.
You want me to make sure that we're able to breach the security and override the surveillance cameras in the Yotsuba group's head office, is that all?
Stop smoking black and mild, bitch.
Getting back to Matsuda, he goes Super Saiyan to listen in on the meeting and confirms that they are in fact planning on killing people. After Matsuda falls through the door, he hits the panic button on his belt and tries to bullshit his way out by saying that he's Misa's manager and wants to know if they'd be interested in working with her.
Matsuda, you idiot.
While being questioned about his intentions, Matsuda gets a phone call.
Yo,
Ryuzaki!
This scene is great, with Elle actually taking part in the action, so to say. After confirming that Matsuda is in danger, the task force try and come up with a plan.
We have to consider that if Matsuda dies, our suspicions about the Yotsuba group would be confirmed. Let's just watch the situation for the time being.
While the rest of the group is talking about killing Matsuda, one of the group members says that he might actually consider his offer. After this, we see Misa taking a break from filming and she answers some phone calls.
I got a call from Light. He really does worry about me when I'm late.
I'm over here stroking my dick. I got lotion on my dick right now. I'm just stroking my shit. I'm horny as fuck, man.
After Misa picks up the phone, she makes her way to the Yotsuba building and introduces herself. We then get a great scene of the Yotsuba group getting invited to an orgy.
Hey, is it just me or is this getting weird?
Using the party as a distraction, Matsuda grabs Misa's phone and heads to the bathroom to call Elle. Elle also has a toilet cam, and I'm just gonna point it out and move on, no need to think about it. Matsuda tells Elle that these men are in fact using Kira to kill, and Elle comes up with a plan to get Matsuda out of there.
well, luckily you're still alive, so we may be able to save you. But for that to happen...
You will have to die before they can kill you.
What?
While Matsuda is doing his thing, Misa cheers him on, but I don't think she knew what the plan was. This scene is pretty much what the next chapter in the Death Note series is going to be. What I mean by that is the elaborate setups and plans that come out of nowhere and just kind of end up working. It's not bad per se. Seeing Elle wearing an ambulance uniform was nice.
Matsuda, you idiot.
The scene is also great because it shows that even though they're always shitting on Matsuda, they genuinely do care about him and were willing to do all of this just to save him. Like, the little pat on the back that Chief Yagami gives him is just great. We then cut to the next day where Sawyer from Lost is pretending to be Geraldo Coyle and calls the member of the group that requested him. We get the most character development for the Yotsuba group that we've seen so far when the member that wanted to give Misa a chance starts losing it.
I don't know who Kira is and I don't care. I just don't want to get wrapped up in this and end up in jail.
Hattori, I think you're going to end up dead tomorrow.
We then cut to Catwoman on the roof of the building who just got done installing cameras and wiretaps.
Security level here is a joke.
We end this episode with the task force watching in on a meeting with one empty chair.
But if there's supposed to be 8, why are there only 7?
We open up this episode with the new intro of the series, and I feel like I would like it more if the original just wasn't so iconic.
Dennis, you jealous douche! How about I crank a little
The World by Nightmare
and play
What's Up People?
And we can see how they stack up side by side. Huh? You want that, you high-voiced bastard?
Picking up right where we left off, we see the task force watching in on a Yotsuba meeting. It's like the anime is finally getting around to establishing the Yotsuba group as the main villain, with the task force being shocked at how the group talks about murder.
This is unbelievable. It's like they're trying to confess to everything.
What do we call that? I think everybody knows what we call that. We call that self-snitching.
It's kind of funny seeing Light's reaction to all this compared to early series Light.
Kira, deaths by accident, by disease, designated times of death.
Also, we get some peak L.
That's just immoral.
Right. Here it comes.
In fact, we get peak L this entire episode.
What is it? There's no need to yell in unison.
The main conflict is that Chief Yagami and Light are wanting to prevent the killings, and L is trying to tell them that if they do that, it would jeopardize everything they've worked for. Light then starts thinking like a gambler and says that if he calls one of the members to blackmail them, they'll have a 1 in 7 chance of calling Kira.
Judging from their conversation so far, the one least likely to be Kira, but with the most influence is Namikawa.
Light's demands are for the member to delay the killings, and before the member can even second guess himself, Light seals the deal with threats of legal action.
Do you realize something? Let me tell you.
They could condemn our house.
You go get that goddamn stuff off of there and fast.
I'm working on it.
And with that, Light has managed to not only delay the killings, but also get a mole in the Yotsuba group with one phone call, and L is quite impressed. So impressed that if he were to die, he would want Light to take over the investigation. Light sees right through this though, and tells the task force what L is really thinking.
Ryuzaki, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to tell everyone what you're really thinking right now.
While laying it all out, Light reminds us that he gave up the Death Note and made a secret plan with Ryuk, and I'm excited to see how the real Kira comes back. After Light asks L if he truly thinks he could have been or possibly still is Kira, Light and L fuck it out again.
Yes, you do. I've always thought so.
You comedian asshole! Bitch!
Chief Yagami starts asking if they could prevent the killings, and L tries again to explain to him why that would be a bad idea. After Chief Yagami and Light are still pushing the issue, L breaks up the band and tells him that they can do what they want to do, but from here on out, L's going solo on this.
I think from now on, I should go after Kira by myself. You can use these headquarters as you wish. I'll also be here.
We then see L using Class A manipulation, starting with Misa.
Light! I didn't know we were supposed to have a date. Oh, right, I should have known.
Using Misa's love for Light, L gets Misa to join the investigation, even though Light is and has been against Misa getting involved from the start. We also get a great line when Misa is talking about being torture-proof.
No problemo. I promise I won't say anything, even if they torture me.
I can attest to that.
Light is still protesting, so L puts the manipulation into overdrive and not only gets Misa to join the task force, but also gets her to do a complete 180 on her feelings about L.
Oh no, I think I've totally misunderstood you all this time. I even called you a pervert!
Misa also starts what's definitely just an open relationship and totally not just you getting cucked. Trust me on this one, I know what I'm talking about. And L sets up Light to be forced to join him and Misa rather than his father.
You're leaving me with no other choice but to join your...
No, that's quite alright.
What are you talking about? Of course he'll be joining us.
That's not it either.
Speaking of Light's father, he and the other task force members have been watching this all go down, and we end the episode with them crawling back to L.
Figuring out the logistics of arresting 7 people is going to be challenging. I don't suppose you two have any ideas. Mogi? Matsuda?
You might meet them in an alley someday. Stick you in the gut. Your innards all over the street. Scream out my name. Damn, you was there. You was right.
Got crossed by my nigga, that's why I ain't got no heart in me. I'm from the hardest streets, the struggle, man, that's what started me. Niggas fraud to me, no smoke, but we want all the beef, real niggas in danger. So you know we tatted RNE.
But he's a great person.
Chuck Norris will fuck you up.
In a heartbeat.
In a heartbeat, bro. That is a master of multiple
He could
arts.
wink at you and your sphincter would collapse.
What kind of power you think Chuck Norris got?
It's about being a warrior. 6th century Japan. Magistrate comes through for the taxes. You whip this shit out and say, "Take that, you Mongol son of a bitch."
10 swords, our most incredible sword deal of all time. This is a historical moment, not a sales pitch.
We open the manga the same way we open the anime, with the exception of the Matsuda highlight reel. While Light is thinking to himself, he's thinking about Ray Penber and his missing fiancée rather than the abstract ideas of being able to make judgments of death. Also, in a previous episode, I talked about how the task force is just now learning that Kira can kill with more than just a heart attack, and I said how I thought that they found this out way sooner, but I could just be remembering Light's conversation with Shoko. Light also thinks about how he shouldn't tell L any of this because it would just complicate things, and I mean, he's not wrong. L also brings up how Light's hacking skills would be good enough to get into police computers, and it's great at making the story feel more connected and events having long-lasting consequences. Speaking of consequences, when Matsuda is sneaking into the Yatsuba building, he thinks about how he's not a part of the police anymore, and if he gets caught, he could be arrested. While Matsuda is listening in on the meeting, we see that he listens in for over an hour, which is pure dedication, and when he falls through the door, it's because of one of the Yatsuba members needing to drain the main vein. We open this next chapter of manga with a splash of color, and while I don't like it as much as the other page, it still has a nice color palette. While the Yatsuba group is deciding if they should kill Matsuda, we hear them talking about how if they do kill him, they can't do it at the office, and if they have it be an accident, he might be able to tell someone before the accident happens, and it lets us see into the thought process of the Yatsuba group. While the group is trying to figure out what to do, we get a great carrot on a stick when Kira is thinking about how he left his death note at his house, but if he were to leave, the rest of the group would know that he is Kira. But his face is covered by a thought bubble, so we still don't know which member is Kira. When Sawyer from Lost calls the Yatsuba member, we get to hear what the member is thinking, and he questions if it's the real Coil, but he comes to the conclusion that there are only 2 people that would know he requested him, and that's his agent and Coil himself. We also get to hear how smooth of a talker Sawyer is. When Hattori is freaking out, it makes more sense because just before that they talk about how Coil knows that they have a connection with Kira and is requiring hush money. It adds more pressure to the situation, making the group try and think of ways they could kill Coil after they get what they want. Nawakama also chimes in and says that he knows what Kira wants, and that's knowledge. More specifically, Kira set out to change the world, and he has, so now his next step will be building wealth, which is why he's working with the Yatsuba group. But then after getting wealth, he'll need to get good social standing, and if Kira is one of the Yatsuba members, he can get both wealth and social standing. When the Yatsuba group is deciding whether or not to pay Coil, they talk about trying to buy him out and get him to join the dark side, and we really get a lot of Yatsuba development in the manga. We even see them go from thinking 2 million up front and 10 on the back end was too much money to paying Coil 5 million up front and 10 on the back end to try and get on his good side. After the meeting is over, we see one of the members talking talking to another, and he tells them that Coil could be a spy sent from another country. They might have the Japanese police, but Kira doesn't just kill Japanese criminals, and Coil could even be a spy for L. Shimura is told to stop being a negative Nancy, and if it comes down to it, Yotsuba can send some missiles to L and Coil's hideouts, which is played off as a joke, but I'm not sure about that. I mean, they don't have actual missiles, so he's not being literal, but I feel like he's being more hyperbolic rather than comedical. We see Sawyer reporting in with L and giving him a status update, and we learn that L has saved Sawyer's life multiple times, and he doesn't mind putting his life on the line because working with L gives him a better life. We get a surprising amount of character development for L when he treats letting Sawyer use one of his identities like sleeping on the couch for the night. While in the anime, the task force are the only people shocked by Hattori's death, we see in the manga that some of the Yotsuba group are shocked by it too, and they take it more as a warning and not just a part of business. It also helps to make the Yotsuba group feel like a group of people and not just a hive mind of multimillionaire murderers. Also, when the group is reading Coil's report, Watari is mentioned, and I think it's to give them just enough information to stay on the hook, but not enough for them to be done with Coil. But like, what did Watari do? I mean, I know he's a very capable person, but he's also a very old person, and they now know who he is and that he has connections with L and was the stand-in when talking to the police. We also hear about how the other countries are handling Kira, and it's nice to see this being a worldwide phenomenon when in the anime you really just hear about the local side of the Kira case. When the group is talking about mixing up the killing times, we see one member pointing the finger at another, and it gives the sense that this isn't a group of friends going out for drinks after work. It's an uneasy alliance between business partners, and now that things aren't going smooth anymore, they can't rely on their non-existent friendship to save them. We see just how separate but equal the group is when one of the members suggests that Kira should just reveal themselves, that way they can ask him questions directly, but this idea is shot down for fear of meat riding. I didn't talk about this when going over the anime, but it really does make sense why L goes all out on the manipulation tactics when you consider all of the time and money L has spent on this case just for it to get potentially ruined by a self-righteous ex-chief of police. L also talks about how the evidence is out there and they need to find it in order to catch Kira, and we see Matsuda chiming in, bringing up the fake L that died on the news and the boat of FBI agents that were killed. Basically, Matsuda's point is if there wasn't any evidence that could lead to Kira, then he wouldn't have needed to kill those people, and it's nice to see Matsuda getting a dub for once. Along the same vein, when L is trying to explain why arresting the Yotsuba group would be a bad idea, we see Matsuda adding his 2 cents, when in the anime it was more of a 2v1 with the Yagamis against L, and it's always a good thing when characters get development, especially because I think Matsuda is one of like the 3 people that make it out alive by the end of the story. When L is manipulating Misa, Light brings up how they could use the Death Note to get Misa to spill the beans before killing her, and in rebuttal, L pulls out a sheet of paper from the shredders at the Yotsuba office, and on this piece of paper are all of the rules and regulations for using Kira to kill, and I'm not sure why this was omitted from the anime. It's a great hat pull moment, and it adds to the fact that the Yotsuba group, while thinking they're invincible, are actually quite sloppy. We end the manga the same way we ended the anime, with the task force listening in on L's conversation, but in the manga it's less clear that Chief Yagami is going back to L. Like with the line delivery in the anime, we get the sense that they're gonna work with L again, but in the manga it seems like Chief Yagami is actually considering starting the investigation by himself. Wow, it's crazy to think I've been making this series since 2023. We're only halfway through the series, so this isn't the end, but it has been a journey. I'm more familiar with the first half of episodes, so from here on out, I'm basically going in blind, and I'm excited to see what comes next. I'll be taking a break from the series for a while and focusing on other content, but I will be returning to the series at some point. I'll also be uploading a compilation video with all of the episodes put together with director's commentary between episodes, where I'll talk about my updated opinions and anything I forgot to mention in the episode. If you like my content and want to see more of me for some reason, I co-host a podcast with RNE King called Henny for Your Thoughts, and we upload new episodes every 2 weeks. I also make music videos, and you can check those out by going to the official RNE channel or just looking up PimpTurkey69 in the YouTube search bar.
You just got shot by a pimp.
I've also started streaming again on Twitch, so if you want to catch me live, check out my Instagram where I'll post updates on if I'm streaming or not. Anyway, I think that'll be all for this video. Until next time, later.
Then when he's 15 years old, he read a book by Helen Keller. And that book changed his life. Books can change your life. And in that book, Helen Keller said,